Hello everyone, welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Monday, June 1, 2026 and the start of Q3 of this year, 2026. And I'm Abdul Majid Awan. Headlines for today are PSG turns from football gamble to $5 billion for Qatar and it's turned into a global asset machine. Kingdom Holding Company, which is headed and chaired by His Highness, the Prince Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, said Prince too many times, jumps as SpaceX stake re-rates as the stock ahead of IPO. UAE scientists are building an AI system that predicts heat waves with 96% accuracy before they hit. So it gives you 2 to 3 days to know that there is a heat wave coming and prepare for it. It's more of an infrastructure play and more of an AI play. We'll talk about it in detail. Market updates are very important when I'm doing the show alone. And the market updates are very simple in the morning and in evening time of US. Jensen Huang, the NVIDIA CEO, is right now having a panel session. And before that, he had a keynote session where he announced that NVIDIA is launching PC, laptop, chips. So basically, now NVIDIA, which was very famous in my time when I was younger for their gaming GPUs, and then they entered the AI race and became the household name for AI chips for data centers, which is the new boom. Now they are entering the PC laptop market with their chips. They've announced a new chip. They're going to rival AMD, Intel, literally every chip stock in the market. A lot of people have this question that why would you discuss NVIDIA on a show on the brand where we discuss the Arab world. But if you want to know, if you want to go into detail, the national AI company of Saudi Arabia, Humane, led by Tariq Amin, they have a partnership with NVIDIA. Humane itself has a laptop and an operating system like Windows and Apple iOS. They have an operating system in the works which is called Humane One. So most probably we'll see NVIDIA chips powering that Humane One laptop, which will be created on the Humane laptop, which will be created on the Humane One operating system. So NVIDIA is very important when it comes to the AI ambitions of the Gulf markets and UAE, the Stargate giant data center, 5 gigawatt data center, which will be built using billions of dollars, the biggest outside of the US data center under the Stargate project. It also incorporates NVIDIA into it. NVIDIA's Jensen Huang was in the UAE when Mr. Trump visited, and he was pictured with all the leadership of the UAE and Abu Dhabi when they announced the Stargate UAE project. So NVIDIA and all the other big players, Qualcomm, all the big names that you can even imagine when it comes to talking about AI and the data centers that are being built for it and the infrastructure around it, all of them have some connections to Gulf because Gulf is playing the long game when it comes to AI. One of the biggest stories over the Eid holiday, forgot to say belated Eid happiness, but a very big story that came out over the Eid holidays was that Anthropic is now bigger than OpenAI when it comes to valuation. Anthropic is now nearly $960 billion dollars worth. Meanwhile, OpenAI, the last round that they did, $120 billion, they were still valued at $858 billion. So Anthropic is now the bigger startup. A very interesting comment on one of our posts was that why are you still calling it a startup? Not us, it's the companies themselves. They are calling themselves a startup. They are doing Series H. The last Anthropic series was Series H, which was ABCD, a very long series of money that they've been raising. And Anthropic, their Series H. MGX, which is an Abu Dhabi AI giant, a combined company between Mubadala, which is a $350 billion, mind my numbers. I still remember all of them, but it's very confusing when it comes to sometimes gathering all the information and simplifying it. But Mubadala is a sovereign wealth fund, which is $350 to $380 billion with assets under management. And then there's an AI company, which is G42, which is the national champion of the UAE. They both combined and made a fund which is called MGX. Their plan was to spend $10 billion every year and not invest in AI. That's the only purpose for which MGX was created. And the funny part that the whole world might not know is MGX is going to be the winner in whoever wins the AI race. We always talk about AI and the dot-com era bubble, where the bubble burst and a lot of companies went down, but some of the companies came out victorious. It's always the case with all the big technological innovations. There's 1 million companies that come out of it, but only a few survive, which go on to become the giants of the industry. Same way in AI, we have so many big players. Google has Gemini, Anthropic has Claude, OpenAI has ChatGPT. We have Perplexity on the side also. But MGX is the winner in the terms that it has a stake in Anthropic. It entered Anthropic, I think, around Series F. The first time MGX invested in Anthropic was Series F, and then now in Series H, they also invested more money. Meanwhile, they are also an investor in OpenAI. So even if it's Anthropic, it's OpenAI, they have a partnership with Microsoft, G42, whatever and whoever wins, at the end of the day, the UAE, the MGX, the company built to invest $10 billion per year and eventually gather $100 billion of assets under management, they are going to be the winner. This is a story that a lot of people right now don't understand. They don't understand the magnanimity of it, but eventually everyone will, because MGX has invested in literally all the big names. So even if Anthropic wins, even if OpenAI wins, Gemini wins, whoever, Microsoft's Copilot wins, whoever wins, MGX is going to be there with a stake in them, and they're going to be the biggest winner out of all of them. We have another story of another local investor, KHC, investing in a big fund, in a big new upcoming IPO. We'll tell you about it. But first of all, we have to discuss this. It's one of the biggest stories, another one of the biggest stories all over the weekend. PSG has finally won the Champions League. It's their second consecutive Champions League victory. No club in the history of France has won Champions League twice. PSG has done it. And when you talk about it, the story is very simple. When Qatar Sports Investment took control of Paris Saint-Germain back in 2011, it's been nearly 14 to 15 years. It looked like a very big gamble because PSG was considered a French giant, and that's it. No move was considered from PSG. They had one of the best MSN forwards in the world. They had Messi, Neymar, Mbappe all playing in front. They couldn't win Champions League. But now finally they have done it. There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek comments that Mbappe left and PSG started winning. But at that point, when in 2011 they made an investment, clearly looked like maybe they were gambling. Maybe they think it may become big. But that struggling club, limited European success, and a brand that was far, far from global elite. They were just considered one of the French giants, nothing else. Today, it looks very different, but the numbers here with the PSG and Qatar's investment tell the real story. So estimates suggest PSG has grown from a club worth roughly $70 to $100 million when it was bought, when the majority stake in it was bought in 2011, to now an valuation of nearly $5 billion. Annual revenues now sit around 800 to 900 million euros, making it one of the highest earning football clubs in the world. On the pitch, the journey was not linear, obviously. Big name signings like Neymar, Messi, Mbappe, as I told you, delivered global attention. Everyone thought this was the team that will win big, but not consistent European dominance. The breakthrough only came later with recent Champions League success, reshaping the club's sporting legacy. But financially, the model was always broader than trophies. That is what is the beauty of any Gulf investment into anything. We have seen the most recent investment in football is Saudi PIF's Newcastle stake. We have seen Manchester City invest. We have seen Abu Dhabi invest in Manchester City. But since 2011, PSG has reportedly generated more than 3 billion euros in value for the wider Qatari ecosystem. Owned through Qatar Sports Investment under the Qatar Investment Authority. We talk about all the sovereign wealth funds on Smashi Business and the show as well. But we always say that PIF and ADIA, these are the biggest giants. Qatar Investment Authority, QIA, the 580 billion giant, somehow takes a backseat always. But with this investment, we clearly see that they are one of the winners in the sports industry. The club basically operates under Qatar Sports Investment, which comes under QIA. So it run less like a traditional sports business and more like a very strategic asset. Think branding, tourism, media reach, and global visibility, and not just ticket sales. The takeaway is very simple from the whole PSG win, the Champions League win, that this investment by QIA, by Qatar Sports Investment, this was never just about football. It was about building a global asset through sport and then seeing it make money for you. It's one of the most beautiful stories in football that you'll ever hear, that you don't treat football club as a football club, you treat it as an asset. And it's not wrong to say that it's an asset, because at the end of the day, if football doesn't make money, then there is no investment in football. But investing in football, making it a strategic asset, and building it into a global giant is what we've seen from Qatar, is what we've seen from Abu Dhabi when it comes to Manchester City. Recently, Pep Guardiola left. The last show I did before Eid, we talked about how Abu Dhabi's investment and the treatment of Manchester City as an asset, not just a football club, not just passion and emotions, but more of a business strategic decision, has made Manchester City into the giant that they are. And we will see soon enough, we've seen some glimpses of it. Newcastle United won one trophy under PIF, but we will soon see them becoming a bigger giant in the Premier League and in the European football. So it's the greatest part of football is that a lot of people have always questioned Gulf investment, Middle Eastern investments, Arab world's investment in football as sports washing. But a lot of people don't understand that they don't treat a game, the beautiful game as it is called, as just a game and passion investment that, oh, we'll put money into it because we like it, or we'll have our logos plastered on the t-shirts, or it's a great branding opportunity. They see it as an asset. It's a very important asset which can be grown from 110 million euros at some point to a $5 billion giant. It's a very long and term investment, took nearly 13, 14 years to build it, but they have built it. So this shows football is a beautiful game, but Gulf investments are making it, I don't know if that is the word that I should use, but beautifuler, more grand, more better. And the next story of the day is a little bit interesting also. In the show start, I talked about how Arab investments, Gulf investments are shaping how the world will move. But today we're seeing a major market reaction tied directly to the future of space and tech investment. Kingdom Holding Company, which is chaired by Prince Al-Walid bin Talal Al Saud, His Highness, their shares surged nearly 10% on Sunday, hitting their strongest level in around a decade, in 10 years. And why is it happening? Investors have reacted to its exposure to SpaceX. If you can look at the picture, Kingdom Holding shared a very nice graph of who they have invested in. So they have literally invested in anything that Elon Musk has touched. XAI, they've invested in it. X at some point when it was X, now it's merged into XAI, and then XAI merged into SpaceX. They've invested literally in all of them, and also Starlink, which is Elon Musk's internet through satellites. So the catalyst was very simple for investors who went into KHC and invested in it, that Kingdom Holding holds a 0.63% stake in Elon Musk's SpaceX, alongside Prince Al-Walid bin Talal's private office. They've invested privately as well. And that stake is now being repriced by the Saudi Tadawul market, the main market, ahead of a potential IPO for SpaceX. Reuters yesterday said that this week we may see SpaceX going for an IPO. Worst case scenario, good case scenario, next week, 100% we see SpaceX going on the market. They are looking at a $1.7 trillion valuation, but a lot of bankers, a lot of analysts who deal with IPOs are saying that they may list at $1.25 trillion valuation. And we still don't know the per share price, but it is going to be one of a kind IPOs. And we are seeing that we will see trillion-dollar companies. OpenAI is going for an IPO. Anthropic is going for an IPO. Everyone is looking at an IPO, and SpaceX is one of the trillion-dollar companies which will start this rally. So at current estimates, just to give you numbers, how much KHC has made from investing in anything Elon Musk. So at current estimates, SpaceX is valued, if they're valued around $1.25 trillion, that puts Kingdom Holdings' stake at roughly $8.3 billion. So 0.63% of SpaceX is worth $8.3 billion. if they value at 1.25 trillion dollars. But if SpaceX reaches a higher valuation, which is 1.75 trillion dollars, then KHC would have a $10 billion stake, just 0.63% of investment, and their stake is now nearly $10 billion. So this is why investors are moving early into KHC. The anticipation of a listing on NASDAQ under the ticker SPCX is already feeding into market sentiment. Kingdom Holding is now up more than 50% year to date, significantly outperforming the broader Saudi Tadawul market. What we are watching here is not just a stock rally. It's not just someone just going in and buying, or because there's a prince involved and actually KHC also has a partnership with PIF. So it's not just that. It's basically a re-rating of a holding company based on exposure to one of the most valuable private companies in the world, which is led by the world's richest man, Elon Musk, who has nearly $800 billion of worth to himself alone. All these numbers, I was just doing a story and one of colleagues walked past and he was like, you're talking about trillions and billions. I was like, this is what we talk about when we say that this has become the center, the gravity, the epicenter of the capital of the world. Wherever you see someone talking about billions or trillions, IPO evaluations, company evaluations, startup fundings, you will always see some Arab involvement in it. Why? Because the Arab world is doing what Europe did at some point in their golden age, and now they've entered kind of a dark age where they're not doing as good as this region, which is the Arab world. So great story to know, great numbers to know. Kudos to Prince Al Walid bin Talal for investing in X, which merged into XAI, which merged into SpaceX in an early time when Elon Musk literally bought Twitter and turned it into X, and now they're reaping the fruits. The third story of the day, back to home, back to UAE. So scientists in the UAE say they may have just changed how the region prepares for extreme heat. So June has started today, July is coming, August is coming, some of the hottest months in the region. And now a new AI model developed by researchers in Abu Dhabi can now predict heat waves with up to 96% accuracy using more than 3 decades of local weather data, that is UAE data. So the system was built using weather records from 1990 to 2022 and tested on recent conditions in 2023 and 2024. So it analyzes data from multiple weather stations across the country to forecast extreme temperature events 2 to 3 days in advance. The good thing about this is, the first question that comes to mind is, why would you need to know that there's heat wave coming in 2 to 3 days? The government gets early warnings. They can warn the people to stay safe, stay hydrated, stay out of the sun, try to get in shade whenever they're exposed to sun. Basically, take care. The thing that we always talk about, a very proactive leadership, investing in AI to figure out, to predict temperature changes, so people can be told, people can be given an early warning so they can better prepare. So the timing obviously matters. The US has already been experiencing temperatures above 50 degrees Celsius in recent days, highlighting how quickly extreme heat is becoming a business and public safety issue. But we have, again, proactive leadership, which is finding solutions to it. Researchers say heat waves in the UAE have been increasing since the 1990s, as has been the case with the whole globe. We've seen waves of global warming, and with the rate accelerating after 2010. The goal is very simple but critical: give people and businesses more time to prepare. That means adjusting work schedules, protecting outdoor workers, improving public safety planning, and even activating cooling centers before temperatures peak. So this is not just a scientific breakthrough from the UAE. It is, to be honest, it is also becoming an operational tool for governments, companies, and cities across the Gulf as they adopt to a hotter future. We have seen there's so many plans in place, by the way, by the UAE for walkable areas, for green areas with trees and plantations. So even in hot weathers, you can walk around and have a good time in the Gulf region. We have seen all these initiatives taken by the government because they don't treat it as just weather and something that naturally happens. They take it as a challenge and then they try to create infrastructure around it. And that is what we are seeing happen in the Gulf. In the next 5 to 10 years, 100% kind of a prediction, not financial or business suggestion, but it is possible that you will see that in the Gulf region, the temperatures will come down. We have a lot of scientific methods apart from heat. We have artificial rains, which are being tested, which have been tested and implemented in the UAE and in Saudi Arabia. So all these things are happening just to make sure that business runs 12 months a year, 365 days a year. There's no stopping due to natural or weather conditions. That is where good leadership comes in. They don't want businesses to suffer because there is heat. They don't want people to suffer because there is heat. They want to create an infrastructure which helps everyone go about their daily life normally, even in the most adverse weather conditions. So this is all for today. Thank you for tuning in to the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description. It went out across all the 5-6 days of Eid holidays. If you were reading it, you would have been ahead of a lot of people who didn't know what was happening in the Gulf. We publish 365 days a year on all our platforms, so we can keep you updated. Till tomorrow, Tuesday, this has been a Smashi Business Show, Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our more than 70,000 people who download our shows. The number has reached nearly 80,000. But as soon as it hits, I'll tell you. But you guys make this possible. If you're one of them, we really, really appreciate your contribution. A like, a comment, a share. Anything that you guys do is good for us. Have a great, great day. We will see you tomorrow on Tuesday. This is Abdul Majid Dewan, and this was the Smashi Business Show.